Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Global Domination and our Grow Global Network, where we interview top real estate agents all over the globe and talk about why and how they're successful in the real estate industry. I'm excited today because we have Christie Addington from Ashland, Kentucky, who has been tearing it up in real estate for 15 years now, right?
15 years, absolutely.
Yes. Here's what I love about Christie, because Christie, you're in a market with there's limited people, there's limited inventory, there's limited price points, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you were kind of forced from the get-go to really carve out multiple niches. You couldn't just be great at one thing, just selling houses. You had to really get your feet wet and experience everything, because since I've known you, which has been 6 years, just about,
Right.
Everything from land deals to big commercial deals to houses to you name it. Dive in. Tell us how you got your start.
Oh gosh. So back in 2008, I think it was 2008, I started just questioning what am I doing? I mean, I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I have a master's degree in criminal justice. I'm partially through a PhD, and then I decided to stay home and take care of kids. And so raise 3 kids, have an extra child that moved in and out of our house, and was like, okay, so I can't, everybody's in school. What am I going to do?
Do something. Yeah.
I gotta do something. I don't want to just go volunteer and play tennis all day. I'm like, that is not me. I like doing that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I've got to be productive. And so we just kept researching what to do. And so my background, even though I love the criminal justice because it's just so interesting and, people just fascinate me. My background's sales. So when I was 13 years old, I started working for my father in his grocery store, and I worked in the bakery, and I worked behind the counter, and the baker's dozen, so people come up and they'd ask what something tasted like, and Dad's like, always give them more than they expected. Always give them more than they expected, and make it good, and always be friendly, and the customer's always right. All the things that he just intuned in me, and I just took it all in. And then I married my husband, who is this serial entrepreneur. So, I come from a background of it, and then he's a serial entrepreneur. People ask me what he does, and I'm like, depends on the day. I don't know. I can give you an idea, but I'm still not really quite sure if that's what it is he does, because he just so far just thinks outside of the box. So between my family and him, they have just really kind of poured that spirit into me. And so, that's just what I like to do. And so real estate just kind of popped into my head. And then I contacted a really dear friend of ours, and I'm like, okay, I think I want to do this. And she's like, all right, let's go. And so I delved in and did my education, did all the stuff. And within a month of starting work for her, she closed her offices down. She took everything and put it in-house. And so from the very beginning, I was like doing deals from home. I had all of my files at home. I had all of my files at her house, because that was our office, our official office. So I had 2 sets of files. I had my printer. I would print things up and do things. And then like 2 or 3 years later, it came to the point where it was like everything was on the computer. So, so I would take things out. I'd write a contract out. I'd take a PDF picture of it. I'd upload it into a, whatever. I'd send it off to the buyer's agent or seller's agent. And it was just one of those things that, I tell everybody, she trained me. She trained me to do EXP.
Yeah.
Because EXP is all from home. I mean, you see my background here. You hear the birds in the background. I can pan my camera around and you can see my 2 dogs, painters in the house. It's just, I get to do everything from home, which is just such a blessing. So yeah, that's how I got started in all of it. But
in your small market of Ashland, Kentucky, because
yes.
how many people are what's the population in Ashland?
So Ashland is roughly 26,000. Now that's the city, but I think in the area surrounding, it's about 80 total. So it's just still not real big.
No, not big at all. So how did you come in, brand new agent, and it's 2008? Come on, let's be honest. 2008 was the worst time to get into real estate.
I know, right? So
How did you?
my thought was in 2008, I'm like, okay, I know the market has crashed. I don't know what that means. I had no clue, honestly, when they said everything's crashed. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Because people are still buying houses and selling houses, but in reality, what does that mean? And I thought, well, if it's crashed, if the business is slow, I'm just going to take my time and I am going to immerse myself into what is the business and what people need and just really kind of hone my skills, which is one thing I've got a few mentees out there. And that's what I tell them. I'm like, listen, you're not going to come in and you're not going to sell $10 million your first year. It's probably not going to happen in this market, in the market of Ashland, that is. But you can hone in on those skills and you can learn to be the best agent you can be, so take your time for that. So that's what I did. I'd say the first 5 or 6 years, I mean, I sold a couple million every year, which was great, maybe 3 or 4, something like that. But how did I do it? It's probably because I did volunteer and
Relationships, being with people.
I played tennis. I volunteered. I had, at that point in time, 15 years ago, we had just organized this group called the Walking Warriors, and it was the Avon group, and we raised like $100,000 in our area for breast cancer awareness. And then we would go and walk 39.3 miles in Charlotte and in New York and in Chicago. And we raised money and things like that. So it was all about those relationships of, with people. They knew who I was, they knew my heart, and I may not have been the best agent out there, but they knew my heart and they wanted to be involved with me.
Yeah. And you spoke about being in real estate. You told people you were in real estate. And once you tell people you're in real estate and you keep telling them, then you're in their mind for when they need that real estate need.
Exactly. And I was probably one of those crazy agents too, that for the first 2 years, my broker would tell me there's no crying in real estate, because every single deal, it would hit me how momentous this deal was for that client, that, I mean, it would tear me up. Did I make a mistake? Did I do something wrong? Have I done this? Have I got it all? And so I felt like I was just so responsible that I think people saw that too. And so those first deals that I had, I'm now getting their sales, and I'm now getting their children, and I'm now getting their estates. And now I'm not, so it's kind of that type of relationship building all along.
Yeah. So that's how you keep your pipeline deep, is having raving fans that you are the go-to for anybody and everybody in that family. I mean, that's the best way to build a business, because then it's referral based. You're not spending a ton of money on trying to identify where the new clients are, because they're all right there amongst you.
Right. Exactly.
So, let's talk about between 2008 and now, because one of the things, we both are mentoring and coaching, agents in the business, even agents that have been in the business quite a long time that still haven't gotten their stride, right? They come to us. They're always asking us, share with me, what can I do to really build and grow my business? And so I was on a mastermind earlier this week, where an agent who's done this tremendously, you're like this. You started out by saying you volunteered, you got involved in groups, you were raising money for, cancer awareness, all these things, being involved with people, building and meeting new people, building those relationships. One of the things that she did, and she is a superstar agent like you, she's an icon, we know what icon is. We'll dive into that here in a second. But she has a husband in the military, and she gets transferred all the time. But every single market she moves into where she's brand spanking new, she obtains her license and she immediately becomes a top producer in her market. And how she does this, you all, is exactly what Christie just said, how you started building your business. She gets involved, right? She has her likes. She immediately gets involved in it. She starts having those conversations. But the other good thing that she's done is, if she's got these likes. Like she loves animals, and so she starts these Facebook groups about veteran wives, right, or military spouses who love dogs. And people start joining these groups and they start sharing and talking about, I mean, it sounds goofy, but she is a top producer. She's had, in the last 6 years, she's lived in 7 different places, 7 different states. And she becomes a top producer every single time because of the involvement with these Facebook groups. And they never die. They just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so she's also built quite a bit of a referral source for herself because people are still in those groups from the last place she left. And she pays attention when somebody needs something. And people do go to their friends or their safe place, these groups where people share the same likes and needs and wants, and they ask advice. And a lot of times that's where they're asking their real estate advice to, because they know and like those and trust those people. So it was just something cool, but it reminded me of, in the olden days, we physically show up and do that. Today, you can still physically show up and do it, but you can also do it on a platform like social media too.
Right. Exactly.
You utilize social media quite a bit. How has that helped your business grow and scale?
Oh my goodness. It has helped out tremendously. I think I've got the maximum number of people on Facebook I'm allowed to have as friends. Because every time I go to add somebody, they're like, well, you've got to go in and you've got to, tell somebody else they can't be your friend because you can only have so many. So, anyway, yeah. So I post about real estate. I don't post a lot about it because except on my Instagram page, I've kind of dedicated that mostly to real estate. But on my Facebook page, I just try to be me.
Yeah.
And
you're not scared to do the videos.
No. And I've got a great coach. I'll do it all myself too, but I've got a great coach who comes in and is like, okay, would you stop it? Would you flirt with the camera? Will you just stop, get over yourself and just talk to it. So I've got a really good friend who's my videographer for all of my house stuff. And I'm getting ready to rope him in to do more community-based stuff because I started doing more community-based stuff too. So like we've got an Italian restaurant in Ashland that has employed a robot. So it's a little robot and he's probably about 4 foot tall, I guess. And he goes up to the table and the waitress will put the food on there or take the food off or whatever. That way she doesn't have to worry about carrying everything and dropping it. So, of course, because people are who people are, they were complaining about it, right? And they're like, oh, I can't believe they're taking away jobs. They're blah, 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 blah. So we went in there one time for dinner and we were just sitting there talking and the staff was telling us how they were being maligned on Facebook and Instagram. I'm like, oh, watch this. Hold the coffee. And so I said, let's do a video. And so I did a video and we did an interview with the waitress and we did an interview with some of the clients and stuff. Put it right out there on Facebook, got tons of things, good comments and things on it. And then the other is we've got something going on in Ashland right now. We've got roundabouts in Ashland.
Yeah.
You would think that is a killer of a society to put a roundabout. Oh my word. And I wasn't crazy about it when they started talking about it, but I'm like, they're here and they're going to be really pretty and we're going to make a good thing out of it. So I have a really good friend, which I guess I'll get into this in a little while ago. We've started a podcast. He's a lender in town, but I've known him since 7th grade. And so we started the podcast, started first of all talking about real estate and lending and things like that. And then realized the only people who would be listening to that would be our mothers. And so we were like, forget it. We're not going to talk about the state of real estate. Let's talk about the great things happening in our area. So
that's cool.
We've brought on city leaders. We've brought on mayoral candidates. We've had business owners, just different people in town coming and talking. So they came on and talked about the roundabout. So that was good. Awesome. That gave me a better frame of reference to actually speak to it.
I love that idea of the podcast and really just spotlighting and highlighting good people in the area. I mean, talk about a way to really build a following, because you're right. Not everyone wants to hear us talk about real estate all the time.
Right.
They want to get to know us, they want to like us, and they want to trust us. And so what better way to do that is to, get people like you're doing, that people are interested in listening. What's going to happen in Ashland? What's going on in Ashland? What's coming? What's going? Economic development, the whole 9 yards. So that's pretty impressive, because agents are always looking for ways to get creative. In the market where interest rates are no longer 3% and money's free, right? And interest rates aren't that way anymore. Now, you and I know what it's like to have the higher interest rates because we've been in the business so long. We
Right.
know. We know. But for them, they're concerned and they're worried, and it was easy to sell anything, right? With free money attached to it. So, but now that's another way that people can, spotlighting, just your town, your neighborhood, certain subdivisions, restaurant businesses, be the small business owners' friends, right? Highlight them, keep them in business. So that's pretty cool. That's awesome, Christie. When you okay, so did you stay at the independent small at home brokerage for?
I did until I left and came to EXP. So yeah, so in 2018, and when I switched to EXP, I did.
What made you look at EXP?
Gosh, it seemed like all of the independents and even all of the brand names still had that same commission split. I mean, honestly, it was about that. It was about education. It was about advertising. She and I were starting to have a different philosophy on how we advertise and things that we do. I really wanted to go more of a digital based advertising and really kind of hit that hard, because in 2018, Facebook had been around maybe 8 or 10 years at that point. And so to pull in Facebook and just really hone hard in on it. She still wanted to, at that point in time, and she has since gone another direction, but at that point in time, she was wanting to do, still felt like the newspaper was the way to go, still felt like all of that. It was just a different philosophy. And like I said, I think she's kind of like switched ways. I don't know what commission split or anything like that is with her group any longer, but I do know that I felt like there was another way for me to make more money, stay above everyone else in education wise, because I truly believe, I mean, I told you what my background was. I truly believe that education is like the way. I mean, I really believe to stay on top of it. Right. Yeah, well, you can't exceed and you can't excel unless you have a goal out there to do it with.
Well, and I truly believe this, and this is something that I seek every day of my life. You can't be the smartest person in the room. You have to surround yourself and have access to people that are smarter than you, because you're right. We have to keep learning. This is my 25th year in the business. I am constantly sitting in trainings, educating, listening to other agents like you and from all over the globe, and learning how they're gaining and pivoting, for business, all of those things, because we have to stay relevant and we got to stay way ahead of it all. Right. And when you stick yourself in those 4 brick walls, and that's all that is surrounding you, it's hard to do that, because regardless of what people say, I've experienced this. Majority of people in the business have experienced this. Local doesn't want to help local get better at what they do. They don't. They don't want you, Christie, to be better than them, because then you're going to take all the business and it puts them in the weaker position. But see, with us and how we operate, it's it's amazing if you are successful. It benefits me. It benefits people all over the globe that are with EXP. The more successful we all get, which is why the collaboration is off the charts, which is why we're constantly opening up our playbooks and sharing with people what works, what don't works, what not to do, what not, I mean, literally the experiences when you can put together, on any given day of the week, there's over 80 hours of trainings and masterminding going on with top agents all around the globe. I mean, I sell global real estate. Think about that. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, you all, and I'm listing real estate around the globe. How do I know how to do that? Because I have access in those markets to reach out to these EXP agents that are stellar, that are the best of the best, and they are sharing with me exactly how and what I need to do in order to do business there. I mean, it's huge.
It's the sharing of the secret sauce, Stephanie.
Yeah.
When you share the secret sauce and you get better and I get better, the world is better. There was, what is it? A rising tide raises all ships, John Kennedy.
Yeah.
You've got, you have to be able to share that secret sauce. And when I first got in the business here in Ashland, that was the last thing you wanted to do. I had several new agents my age, right?
Yeah.
Who had just gotten the business. One in particular, who's such a dear friend of mine. She works for another agency. She's always worked for that same one, and she's done great. She's amazing. We even walked with the Walking Warriors together. Love her. Consider her such a confidant of mine. Anyway, I was sharing some things with her, and she took it to her broker, who took it to my broker. And I got in trouble for sharing the secret sauce.
Oh my goodness.
Asking the question. And it probably came off the wrong way and whatever else. But anyway.
Don't share then, Christie. Just share with EXP.
But here's the other thing. So before I got into EXP, I was encountering all of these agents who were getting in the business who weren't being trained, who didn't know squat. They would present an offer and it'd be half written up, or they didn't understand what this term meant or that term meant. And I'm like, okay, always consult with your broker, but here's what this means. If you have any questions, ask them. But if you need anything, please come to me. If we're going to do a deal together, I want to make sure that you and I both are presenting the best deal out there, the best fit forward, And so I found myself coaching agents even before I switched and went to EXP.
Yeah.
So.
Which is why you're one of the best mentors that we have. And you love mentoring. You love train, and here's the thing. I meet agents all the time, and they could be in the business 2 months. They could be in the business 20 years. But they haven't had exposure to certain things and they still have questions, right? Because we all need to constantly learn and so forth. So it's not just mentoring the brand new, it's helping and mentoring people that are established, but they've never had that thought process on exactly how to pivot, or maybe they haven't, engulfed the social media presence, or maybe they need to learn, like you and I work commercial deals together. You're in a market that, you want to be a part of those types of deals. And so that's what I love too, is that, if we are weak at something, somebody else in our group has that strength. And that's exactly what we end up doing is we partner and get the deal done together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Christie, I do. I love learning new things. I love sharing it. So I met with 2 agents today, and they were like, how do you do, this, that, and the other? I was teaching them how to do an open house, because they're going to do an open house for me on Sunday. I'm not going to be there because I'm planning our 2nd wedding this year. And anyway, so I was like, here's how you do it. And they had questions like, I'm so sorry I have this question. I'm like, why?
Don't be sorry.
17 years into the business and I still don't know everything.
Yeah.
Ask, somebody's going to know your question.
Right. That's right. Well, and there's a lot of agents that, have gotten into the business over the course of the last 3-4 years. And open houses weren't necessary, always. They sold before you could even get the sign out there. And so there's a lot of people that don't know how to properly host an open house, but that's trainings we're doing daily so that they can properly learn and also utilize that to gain, more business. Because you got to remember, everybody coming through that open house isn't just a prospect potentially on that house. They're a prospect on you representing them at some point, whether if they're interviewing you to list their home or whether they're just seeing how you handle yourself in business. It is a job interview. That's what an open house is.
And I'm teaching them to do the open houses together, because I think that's another thing that we kind of missed out on. When I first started doing open houses, well, back when, I didn't realize the situation that put me in. For my own safety, for the house's safety, for all of anything that you can think of. And I'm like, okay, it's really important. House this size, you need at least 2 agents in there. So talk about how you're going to split things up. Talk about, who's going to make what copies and how this is going to be done. Who's going to bring the snacks, but talk through it. You're not a lone ranger out there.
That's right.
So anyway.
That is right. You're multi-licensed, not just here in Kentucky, but also West Virginia.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I am.
Are you licensed anywhere else?
No, I'm not. I looked into getting my license in Ohio, but that was about the time when, that's probably about 3 years ago, 4 years. Yeah. But within the past 3 to 4 years. And I started it, and real estate just like went boom. And
too busy.
Oh my heavens, so it was way too busy. And I thought, I do plenty of business where I am. I'm very familiar with the market, with the roads, with the houses, with all the neighborhoods and stuff like that. I don't need to add a third market into there. We're right on the border. For those who don't know, we are in the northeast part of Kentucky. So Cincinnati's like way up here, and we're down the river from Cincinnati on the border of West Virginia and Ohio. So I can actually go out probably take about half a mile from here, walk to the end of the road, and throw a stone and hit Ohio. So, yeah.
That is amazing. Well, Christie, I'm so glad that we met 6 years ago, and I'm glad to call you my business partner. What's the outlook look like? What's the rest of the year look like for you in real estate?
Well, I went to Rotary meeting on Monday, and we always have a buck for brags. And I'm like, I had 3, and I said, my son's getting married October 19th. My daughter just told me last week she's getting married August 3rd, and I need to sell more houses. I sell more houses. But yeah, no, the outlook for the rest of the year is really kind of gearing up. You were talking about volunteering. I'm actually going to be the president of our board next year. Nice. So a lot of that is gearing up toward that, as well as getting through these weddings, which will be just fine. They'll be fine. I'm going to up the Zoloft just a little bit but make sure I can still function. But it's, that's really it. So I've got 3 mentees underneath me that I'm working very closely with, who I've brought in. And I'm like, okay, I've got to figure out how to, not give all my profits away, but share in that so the business grows.
Exactly. So building that team.
Exactly. And these are people that have come to me and have wanted to stay with me so far. So I'm like, okay, I've not gone out. I've not done the recruiting, but everything that EXP has to offer is what these agents want.
Yeah.
And they want to hook up with me. And I pray that they still do after this year's over with, and hopefully I don't go too crazy. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it is. I don't know about growing my team anymore right now, but I will certainly, interview people as they come in. And I'm encouraging, like I call her my OG, Carrie, who's was my first mentee. I have encouraged her. I'm like, go get your mentorship. Go get your mentor, get that certification, because she's got some people who are interested in coming in. I'm like, go get that so you can do it. I can help you mentor. We can go along and sidle up right alongside each other. I've got 2 mentees right now who have worked on the relocation portion. So one that's already got like a relocation client, and yeah, I'm just so proud of them. And I'm like,
Well,
you
and
came to me.
and not only do they have you as their mentor, I mean, really, I mean, the time commitment that you're putting into them for their success is huge. But that's what we do here at EXP. But I
Yes.
love the fact that they can get certified in relocation and receive those leads. They can get certified in REO and receive those leads, both on the sell and the buy side, right? I mean, we
Exactly.
have so many accreditations inside of EXP that doesn't cost you money to achieve those, but you
Mhm.
immediately receive those leads. And so it makes it easy for us mentors to help coach you when we're actually coaching you through deals, because you instantly will receive business once you sit for those certifications. And I mean, it's tremendous. And putting to use the technology, being able to mastermind with all of us. Not only does EXP offer a ton of education, but our Grow Global group is masterminding twice a week. And this is with top agents like Christie all over the country, to where I've been able to learn from them, implement it in my business, and grow and scale as well too. So it's awesome. I love that we're in business together. Look, if anybody has questions or wants to know more about what it's like in Christie's journey, her contact information is in the comments below. So feel free to reach out to her, reach out to me. We're happy to have a conversation with you. We're here to build agents. We're here to grow global, and we're here to just make us all win, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, Stephanie, for those those who are out there listening, I could not have a better business partner than Stephanie. She's heard the cries, she's heard the screams, she's heard the celebrations, and I also consider you a friend. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, that's the thing about this business. Look, there's ups and downs. I don't care if you're doing residential or commercial. There's ups and downs, there's wins and there's losses, but we can all get through it. And it's so much nicer when you can bounce it off of someone who understands, and we're here to do it. If we lose one, we go out and gain another. It's all okay.
Absolutely.
So I love you too. And like I said, thank you so much for taking the time to be on here today. I love you. Appreciate you.
Oh, love you too. And thank you for asking me. I'm honored. So,
all right, everyone. Well, make sure to tune in and feel free to reach out to us anytime if you want to talk about how you too can grow global when it comes to real estate. Talk
yes,
soon.
bye.
Bye.